Hey guys, Mr. Mackey here, and welcome to the final week of Mr. Mackey's Maths. Now what I thought I'd do this week is a little bit different. I thought I won't focus on one topic this week and go over a whole bunch of areas of that topic. I'm actually going to go over everything that I've taught you since I've done this video. So, how it's going to work is every day I'm going to set you a special challenge, just one question, which focuses on multiple parts of my channel. And you pause the video, you go through the question, see how you do, and then I will go through it at the end. So, today we're going to be looking at some things that I did at the very beginning of my channel. I'm only going to give you one question, and let's see how you do on it. Here it is. So here is your challenge. I have a fraction with fractions within them, and I also have loads of multiplication, division, addition, and indices. Good luck with this problem. Pause the video now, see how you do, and then I'll go over it in 3, 2, 1, and now. Now obviously, because this is quite a big question that's taken off a lot of space on the board, I'm going to move this question into this part of the board. So there's enough space for us to do some working out. So what I'm going to do firstly is focus on the brackets part, because you know, classic bid maths, and focus on what's going on inside these brackets here. So 3/4 minus 1/8. Let's do that one first. So 3/4 minus 1/8. Now whenever we're subtracting or adding fractions, we have to make sure the denominators, the bottom numbers, are the same. These ones they're not, so we're going to have to change them. So we need to change that 4 into an 8 by multiplying it by 2. And because we're multiplying the 4 by 2, we're going to multiply our numerator, the top number, by 2, turning that into a 6. So this now becomes 6/8 minus 1/8, which gets us a grand total of 5/8. I'm going to move this over to here, so we know we have a more tidier version. So 5/8. And we need to remind ourselves there is a squared symbol there. So we'll get back to that in a minute. Let's focus on the brackets first, because you know, bid maths. So let me just rub this bit out. Now let's focus on the denominator part of this. 5/6 multiplied by 2/3. So let's write this over here. 5/6 multiplied by 2/3. Multiplication of fractions is actually very simple. You just multiply the numerators together and you multiply the denominators together. So 5 times 2 gets us 10, and 6 times 3 gets us 18. But the important thing is we have to simplify it. And when we simplify it, we get 5/9, which I will put over here. Awesome. And then once we've done all that, we then add 4.5 to it. But we still need to tidy this up a bit. We've still got the squared, and we actually need to find out the solution to that part of the problem. So let's rub this out, and let's work on the indice bit. So 5/8 squared. Now the important thing is when you square it, you just square the 5 and you square the 8. So 5 squared becomes 25, and the 8 squared becomes 64. Can we simplify it? No, we can't. We could leave it like that. So 5/8, when it's squared, all becomes 25/64. Now, this is the part which I'm sure gets a bit more complicated. We've got 25/64 divided by 5/9. How do we work out this part? Well, let's write it here. 25/64 divided by 5/9. Do you remember what we do? We keep, flip, change. So we keep the first fraction, we flip the second fraction, so it's 9/5, and we change the division into a multiplication. So now we do 25 multiplied by 9 and 64 multiplied by 5. Let's do that now. 25 times 9 becomes 225. 64 times 5 becomes 320. Now the good news is this can be simplified. So let's get our calculator. We do 225/320, and that gets us 45/64. So let's write that now. So 45/64. Now that we know what this all makes the fraction 45/64, we can rub this bit out and write that up here. 45 over 64. Awesome. We're done. Or are we? We've still got to add the 4.5 bit to it. So, 45 over 64, which I'll write down here. Add 4.5. How do we do that? Well, the first thing we have to do is let's ignore the 4 for now. I'm going to move the 4 over here. That 4 is gone. So we do 45 over 64 plus a half. But the problem is the denominators, the bottom numbers, are not the same. So how do we make them the same? Well, we change that 2 into 64 by multiplying the answer by 32. And that means we have to multiply the numerator, the top number, by 32 as well. So now it's 45 over 64 plus 32 over 64, which gets us 77 over 64, but I don't like top heavy. So it becomes 1 and 13 over 64. You still with me? Fantastic, because there's one more thing we have left to do. So we have 1 and 13, 64, and we need that 4 that we had from the beginning. We add that on, so 1 and 13 of 64, add 4, becomes 5 and 13 over 64. And that is the answer. 5 and 13 64s. It's a difficult one to start with for this week, but that's the whole point of these challenges. Multiple things. So if you manage to go through this challenge absolutely fine, you have just used BIDMAS, adding and subtracting fractions, multiplying and dividing fractions, not to mention some extra practice in simplifying them with addition, subtraction, multiplication and division in general. You have just done all that in one simple question. Fantastic work. And that's what this week is going to be. We're going to be looking at loads, we're going to be looking at challenges with multiple bits all in one go. I'm not going to give you a challenge to do tonight because that was the challenge for you to do. Let's bring on tomorrow's video. Take care, guys, and I'll see you then.